This is Get Real and Heal for Type A women executives and entrepreneurs, where we discuss all things emotional healing and the relationships with yourself, your man, and your money. I'm your host, Jamila McMallow, wife, mother, certified cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner, mindset and relationship expert with over 20 years coaching and mentoring experience. I know that when you're the one that everyone else leans on, the leader and the trailblazer, it can be difficult to let your guard down, be vulnerable, and tend to your own emotions. So I hope today's discussion will allow you a moment to experience a life-changing realization, perhaps even a transformation. So let's begin and get real and heal. Well, hello. Today I want to talk about certainty. And when I'm talking about certainty, I'm talking about the opposite of self-doubt. I'm talking about the opposite of overthinking and getting stuck in inaction. And I know that you know that as a type A woman, high performer, high achiever, leader, trailblazer, go-getter, you spend 99% of your time in your head, questioning, second guessing, etc., etc. And even though you're making things happen, you know that there are a lot of times when there are things that get held up because you're getting stuck in your head. And so one of the ways that we can move through that, out of that, is when we have absolute certainty or belief in a particular outcome. And so I want to share a little bit of a personal story with you today. It's very personal, actually. You may not know, but my husband and I, we had 3 children. 2 are living. Our first son is deceased. And I remember when we decided to have another child, after we lost him, okay? It was just a few months later, but, we were just aching with all of the love that we were not able to give him, right? Our first son could never be replaced, but we needed another child to love. We were parents, but we had no children to put that love into, to pour into. And, all of that love, it had to go somewhere. So it really took a lot of courage to have another child after just experiencing the worst case scenario. It took courage to move past the fear and embrace the hope and possibility. So when we found out that we were expecting again, we were so happy. I mean, words cannot express how it felt to have life growing within me again. Eventually, though, we found out that I did have a complication. I had a complete placenta previa. And what that means is that my placenta was covering my cervix. And so any sort of contractions, Braxton Hicks are real, could cause excessive bleeding at any time, And so what ended up happening was I went into preterm labor at 32 weeks. And essentially my first bleed was my last bleed because it led to an emergency C-section. Now, at no time did I ever entertain the idea that I was going to die, nor that my son would either. And later, when I woke up from my C-section, because it was an emergency, so they put me to sleep, when I woke up, the nurse told me that I had minimal blood loss and that my son came out crying and he was okay. Now, the general anesthesia got to him, so they did have to intubate him to help him breathe, and because he was a preemie, his lungs weren't done, but he was okay. She said that they were all in complete shock. And later, my doctor told me that he felt God's presence in the operating room that morning. Not one single complication. Not one single thing went wrong in that delivery. Now, I do not take a cavalier attitude towards my health. I mean, good grief. That's a whole nother book within itself on all the choices, nutrition, vitamins, education, etc. I immersed myself in to make sure that this pregnancy was going to be healthy, full term, etc. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to understand the power of certainty. See, I had no doubt that I was going to be fine living my life, right, with my beautiful baby son. Okay? Or I should say our son. He wasn't just mine. Just like I had no idea that I was going to get pregnant with another healthy baby. I'm sorry. I had no doubt that I was going to get pregnant with another healthy baby after our son died. I didn't doubt that. I knew that baby was coming. I could feel it. I could see him. I had imagined his personality. I imagined holding him. It would move me to tears, just thinking about him. He was already real in my mind, that he existed even before he did. And so just like I had no doubt that baby boy was coming, it's just like how I had no doubt that I would be blessed with an amazing husband to have said babies with, right? I shared in a previous episode that I didn't doubt that I was going to have that husband. I had that certainty, okay? And so the fact is I have mastered the ability to have unshakable belief and certainty in my vision, and that what I have asked for will be realized. This is why I don't hesitate to make decisions when it comes to working with, for example, my own coaches and mentors to expand my personal development, my healing, or my business. I do my research, I pray about it, do a vibe check, and that's it. I make a decision because money is not finite and it can be created. Being properly resourced and having access to money is something that's really available to everyone. I don't wait until I magically have this invisible money saved up in a coaching budget that does not exist for anyone that I've ever met, because I have certainty in my ability to get results. I already know that the coaching will allow me to transform into the next version of myself that moves me closer to my vision, okay? Like that certainty I had on having my son, that certainty I had on my husband, that certainty I've had in knowing I'm going to get results in my business, okay? And so if you want to embody certainty and start creating real change in your life, I've got some tips for you, okay? So number 1, strengthen your relationship and faith in God. Number 2, heal your childhood trauma. It is the root of your doubts. Number 3, get clear on what you want. Number 4, give yourself permission to have it. Number 5, take radical responsibility for every aspect of your life. No blaming other people, situations, lack of money, etc. Okay? Number 6, develop real trust and belief in yourself that you can create results. And then number 7, find the coach and mentor who has been there, can show you the way, believes in you, and then hire them. Okay? So I hope this motivates you today to really get that certainty that you need to crush your self-doubt, to crush your overthinking, and to really believe that you're not only worthy and deserving of everything that you desire, but that you believe that you can have it. All right? So that's what I got for you today. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Be sure to visit CoachJamila.com, where you'll find the links to connect with me on social media and more information on my private bespoke coaching for Type A high-performing women executives and entrepreneurs.